What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to the 21st episode of Tuffy Talk. Thank y'all so much again for tuning in. Really appreciate it here. Got Layden Smith here with Macon Adams. On today's episode, we actually talked with former softball player Caitlin Dent, who played with NC State from 2010 to 2013, was an outfielder for NC State. So kind of diving into her time at NC State, talking about the program and how it's developed and kind of some of her favorite times. So please make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to us by hitting the button in the bottom right-hand corner. Please follow us at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter and Instagram, bam. And also too, make sure to like this video and check out other content if you haven't already. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing started. What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much again for tuning in. Again, we got with us here today Caitlin Dent, former NC State softball player. Thank you so much for joining us today, Caitlin.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, so basically, what we're going to be doing today is, first of all, we wanted to kind of give Wolfpack Nation a chance to remind them kind of who you are, Caitlin. Also, too, we're going to, be talking a little bit. Obviously, the softball season just got over with. We're in the hot and heavy right now of the College World Series. And this full season isn't over yet, but it is unfortunately for NC State. But kind of want to review a little bit of thoughts and, kind of for thoughts for the program heading forward and maybe kind of how much it's progressed from even when you were there. So first, just wanted to kind of start off with just kind of asking kind of what we've asked most people that are former players, kind of, what have you been up to recently? What kind of work are you working in right now? And where are you basically? Just kind of overall overview.
So I am back in West Palm Beach, Florida, where I'm originally from, and currently got married 2 years ago. So, that's changed. And I am now working with the American Heart Association. I'm their development director. It's something that I didn't think I would ever get into nonprofit work, but God has a different plan, and here we are.
Amen. Well, congratulations, first of all, getting married. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Just wanted to kind of first of all ask, have you been able to, I know before we started recording, we were kind of talking a little bit about the College World Series and JMU and how impressive they have been, but I'm sure you probably still kept your head for the most part in the college softball world, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially during the World Series and super regionals and regionals. This is the time of the year that we all look forward to, and to see different teams in the World Series now and just the competition and how these girls are playing their hearts out. It's always the best part of the year to see all the fight.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, and just to confirm too, so you were at State from 2010 to 2013, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So you actually went through a coaching change. Am I correct in that?
We did. It was my senior year that we inherited Coach Rychek.
Okay. So curious for that. What was that kind of transition like? I know that because overall NC State softball is relatively young. I think if I'm not mistaken, it started in the early 90s, something like that.
Yes.
So overall, it's relatively new. And I think this actually Coach Patrick Swift is actually, if I'm not mistaken, State's third softball coach. So, wanted to kind of ask, how was that transition like, kind of going from that? And how easy how tough is it to kind of take on the new style, the new coaching staff overall? What was your kind of overall view on it?
Rychek was a blessing, and I loved Rychek. I would give him my life still to this day. He was just such an amazing coach. At first, when you're like, oh my gosh, we're going through a change, it's senior year. What is this going to be? This isn't the coach that recruited me. So all of those questions go in, and you wonder how they're going to be towards you, and if they're going to bring in new people and their new coaching staff and what that's going to look like. So yeah, there's a lot of questions and uncertainties, but when he came in, he was like a big teddy bear, and he just really brought the confidence up. He brought everyone together because we only had 14 girls on our team at that time. So it was very slim. And but the way that he came in, he just went to each player, lifted every person up, and he really built that confidence in us. And he showed that throughout the season. And as you can see with what happened that season, we were like the Cinderella team with only 14 girls. Emily pitched almost pretty much every single inning of that year. and just his leadership was incredible. And you can tell that we just became just one unit, and the camaraderie between us and as a team was something I've never experienced. It was really awesome. We had each other's backs, but it all started from leadership, and it started from him really setting the tone and bringing that confidence to our team.
Yeah, that's awesome. No. So let me ask you. So you mentioned you were at so when you started out, I'm kind of looking back at your career. You kind of seemed to have you started when you were a sophomore. I think that's correct.
So I was there freshman, but I didn't really start games fully until senior, then my sophomore year.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what was that like when you first get out there? Is it having to adjust becoming a full-time starter, and then obviously as you progressed, you were that much better. So what was that like that first year starting?
First year, I was pumped. I just wanted to be in the lineup. That's all I cared about. So my freshman year, I was actually a third baseman, and I never played third base. I was always middle infielder, and novice put me at third. And then sophomore year went into right field, and I didn't care where I played. As long as I was in the lineup, a part of the team, helping the team, that's all I cared about. So it definitely was exciting to finally be one of the starters. You work so hard. As you come in as a freshman, everyone's good, and you have to really earn your spot. So earning that spot sophomore year was definitely a huge accomplishment.
That's cool. And then you mentioned, and I was looking at kind of the following year. It says like you started that game. I think you had 51 starts. You had your second year starting. You had 4 home runs, and I did not notice you had home runs the previous seasons. Is that correct?
Correct.
So what was that like going through your head? You're like, holy cow, I'm like jacking these things out of the park now.
Yeah. So, and then each year got more home runs. And then my senior year ended up hitting 14, which was just like incredible to me. But
that's awesome.
Those 4 home runs were really I was really happy about those my sophomore year.
Yeah, no,
but then, as you said, was able to progress and really come into my own and understand my role as a hitter. And just also, all the pitchers are so good. You start really learning yourself as a hitter and how you're approaching the game, how you're when you get into hitters counts and what you're looking for, just the mental side of the game and how you approach and get into the box every single time. But it was more the mental side that I feel helped me progress with my plate appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things too, which what I think I definitely have been wanting to ask somebody, who has the background of softball. So, obviously softball is much different from baseball in terms of that. I mean, you can easily see a softball pitcher throw 100, 120 pitches and not even, blink an eye, and then could, if they wanted to play the next day. And because you see that a lot like, the College World Series is that like, with baseball, you kind of think to yourself, okay, if I can get through these pitchers and find a way to win, then I'm going to feel a lot better because more likely I'm not going to see them again, but with softball, it's not that way. So, I guess from a approach perspective, how does a softball player kind of approach it in terms of, obviously, in order for us to win against this team and more likely a 3 or 4 game series, we got to figure this pitcher out one way or another. So, and to me, that can be either a really great feeling and I think we have an edge on this, or it could be okay, yeah, we're definitely a little bit behind the 8 ball here, and that could be a little bit frustrating for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, we could face the same pitcher all weekend and she might have our number, but it's really just studying the pitcher, studying her tendencies, studying, watching film. What did she throw in your counts? What does she throw when she gets ahead? What is her go-to pitch? And then really starting to read the spins as well, as a hitter, and knowing what those spins look like, what a rise ball looks like, what her drop ball, what her screw, curve, any of those, but really just analyzing the pitcher and watching video. That was what really helped us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know, like from a football perspective, from my time in football, one of the biggest things which I tell people all the time is that, fans truly don't understand how much time just sitting in front of a video screen that these players go through on a weekly basis, hours and hours and hours of video review. So, and just like you said, basically watching these pictures and watching their tendencies, want to kind of ask, how much emphasis is there in terms of what different types of video are you watching? Are you watching, your own video? Are you watching, the pictures video? What kind of usually goes into a video review analysis from week to week?
Yeah, it would be from, obviously it'd be from there would be two different videos, one from the backstop and one from the outfield. So you'd be able to see different angles of where the pitcher is throwing. And then you would watch your at-bats and then possibly somebody else that's similar to you and see how she's throwing, what she did, reviewing your bats, going back to just going through what each sequence she threw at you. And then how did you react? And what could you do better? What could you change? And just really analyzing that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I know for me, that's one of the things. I've kind of interested in is, I know that from our perspective, that's one thing we're really trying to help grow the softball following at NC State, and I think that one of the first ways to do that is help fans understand kind of what what these girls go through, and and just kind of see kind of the approach to the game as well, and just see that kind of really how much is really into it, So, wanted to kind of ask you, have you been able to come back to Raleigh recently, since you left NC State?
Not recently, but I did go back for Alumni Day. I would have to say like a few years ago, like right after I graduated. I think I went the next year and visited. And then one of my teammates was getting married in Raleigh. That was 2 years ago that she got married. So went back and saw, the campus then as well. But recently I haven't been able to get back. I would love to. I would love to get all the alumni together. I just miss my girls.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have you been able to keep up with state baseball at all? I know that obviously, they state went through a coaching change back in 2019 to hire Coach Jennifer Patrick Swift. So I know your coach isn't there anymore, unfortunately, but wanted to kind of ask, how much you've been able to keep up, even being down in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't followed so closely,
yeah.
But I have read up a few times just to see how they're doing, or I'll just check in to see, if they won the series, and how they're doing, but I have not followed super, super close. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So let me ask you this. When you had that, I guess it was your senior year, and you had Rychik come in and you guys won the ACC championship.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about that? You kind of hinted at it a little bit. Can you just kind of elaborate what's going through y'all's minds, the preparation? Are you looking at yourselves like, holy crap?
Yes.
This is happening.
I could cry every time I think about this team because just going into it, like I said, the confidence he gave us that, and the belief that he had behind us, because going in, and we all, of course, you always envision wanting to win the ACC. That's the whole point when you get to college. You want to win your conference, and that was the ultimate goal. And he painted that picture for us that we were going to win. And every step, every practice, every time he communicated with us, he believed in us. And so when we finally we're having an unbelievable season, and we get to the conference tournament, we win that first game, and then we, win, and then we go into FSU. And that last play, I just remember, we all sprinted in and started crying, jumping, we couldn't even believe it. And for his first season with us, that's just truly incredible. And one of the best memories I will ever have for the rest of my life.
Do you ever hear back or hear from any people who were fans, alumni that were there, that just realized, do you realize what you did for the school when you did that?
Everyone. And that's the best part. And you're doing this for your university. It's about the name on the front of your jersey, and you're representing your university. And to be able to do that And especially, like I said, with a slim team, we had 14 girls on our team. Every single girl played every single game on that field, the starters. And Emily was a workhorse and threw her heart out that year. And it was incredible to see. And just like I mentioned before, everyone had each other's back on that field every single day. No matter what, we were going to battle for each other. And that was what was so incredible was the chemistry and knowing that every single person was fighting to, win every single game. And it was such a special experience.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And again, I mean, that, because at the end of the day, that's one thing that I know from us and Make and I, we always talk about is that, unfortunately for NC State, baseball, football, and basketball, men's basketball, we have the longest ACC drought of us not winning an ACC title since 1992. So for Make and I, it's simply championships. That's should be the goal. That should be the bar. Period. If you didn't win a championship, then we're not there. It's as simple as that. And so for you guys to bring that in for his Coach Rychick's first year, I mean, huge accomplishment. Hats off for sure. And and again, I mean, and even on top of that, for what I think it was 2 years later in 2015 for him to go to the super regional. State's first super regional, that was also a huge accomplishment. So I think, and again, definitely let me know if I'm wrong on this, but I mean, for me, I mean, I definitely feel like you see the upward trajectory there with this program for sure. Just like you said, going from really only having 14 players to now, at one point, to start the season, we won 3 straight ACC series. We were second ACC in home runs. The offense is there. The excitement's there. The recruiting is definitely picking up as well. So I mean, I especially watching this weekend, watching the Women's College World Series, you kind of think, how far are we from that? Really. So I mean, would you overall kind of agree with that analysis for the most part?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And I think also what's really cool is the ACC just expanding in general and getting more softball teams, Duke, Clemson. That's just really awesome to see because, we didn't have that. So to be able to just see the sport growing in itself, but also how NC State continues to grow and flourish and hopefully continue with growing their program.
Can you tell me where Clemson came from? Holy smokes.
I know. I'm blown away. I just couldn't believe it. And I think it's so cool to see that these two, universities finally have softball in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. I mean, for sure. I mean, when they, especially during watching the ACC championship, because they were in the championship game against Duke, and they kept on saying this is their first year. And I think they only had single digit losses. And I mean, they were just
incredible.
So
that is truly remarkable for that program.
So, and because I know, I mean, obviously Florida State, they won a national championship a couple of years ago. Virginia Tech has been up there and they're continuing to go upward. Obviously Clemson's, hit the ball rolling from the word go. And Duke, has definitely established themselves as well. So, I mean, I think you kind of said it in terms of how much not only state is going up, but the ACC overall, is getting tougher and tougher and tougher. So, which makes the job for now, Coach Patrick Swift, a little bit, tougher, but also a little bit more exciting because, like you were saying, I mean, I think, especially you think about the big guns like Oklahoma, Alabama, the big schools that you see year after year in the college World Series. So, you kind of hope, that the ACC can start having some of those big names that everybody thinks. When I think softball, I think,
right.
ACC.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So.
And that's why, as much as it hurts me that FSU won, but I'm so happy that they won the national championship because, again, an ACC school, I was so pumped for them because they were able to represent the conference and be able to show that we are in contention as an AC, as our conference.
Yeah. So
let me ask you this question. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. So you mentioned how you mentioned all of your career so far at State, but then you mentioned how you went on to coach at Hofstra.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about what that was like, but then also going from a player, taking that experience, you mentioned all the film you watched, and then going to be a coach and then, trying to make others better that you're actually responsible for coaching?
Yeah, no, it was such an awesome experience going to Hofstra and being assistant coach to Larissa. She is a phenomenal coach. And Bill Edwards was originally the head coach there, I think for 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. And they were a dynasty. They were the team that led, up north and in their conference. They won their conference almost every single year too. So be able to go in and be a young coach, I was very honored to have that position and to learn under those two individuals, because Bill was still very involved, but Larissa is so knowledgeable of the game. And to have that experience, to learn a different side of the game, it was incredible. But it was very challenging at first because you just want to go out there and do it. You're still so fresh. We just came off winning the ACC. You're just like wanting to go out there and just doing it. And so it was definitely difficult to be able to transition and be able to figure out that, like, for somebody, the way I'm speaking and teaching you how to do something might not work for her or might not work for this girl. So I might have to switch the way that I'm teaching it, and then it'll click. So that was very different for me, to be able to break things down differently, even though it's the same thing, but saying it differently it will be able to make it work for an individual. So that was, and then also just learning the game behind like, when certain situations, she would question me, what would you do here? What would you do here? What call, would you steal here? Would you bunt here? And really challenging those. And you have to trust your instinct as a coach as well, and know, like, what are you feeling? Because just as a player, you have an instinct as a player on the field, you have an instinct as a coach. And so that was also really different for me as well. But we ended up going on and we won the conference that year. We ended up being, I think it was regional coaching staff of the year also. So that was really incredible. But yeah, it was awesome. I love those girls. Very fun to really teach them about the game and pass your knowledge along to them and see them grow and flourish and excel because of what you were able to give back to them.
Yeah. Well, because I know, like, especially with coaching, one of the biggest things, which I know from my time at State as well, is that, Coach Doran football, he actually has basically in his ear somebody talking to him from an analytics perspective, saying, if you get to this situation, then analytics show that you should do this, etc. And so, but I feel like with baseball and softball, for that perspective, it's simply, you're a genius, or what the heck were you thinking? Like, if you bunted here and it didn't work, what the heck were you thinking? Or if you did, then, oh, you're a genius. What a genius move there. So, because there is no, like, it's not like 4th and 2, like you have to get 2 yards. It's, the base path is always the same, no matter what situation you're in. So it really just comes down, just like you said, the kind of like gut instinct perspective. So, yeah. So, overall, do you feel that, that there's a future for you with the from the coaching world, really? I know obviously you've been working with the American Heart Association, but, just wanted to kind of see kind of what the future is for you, if you had anything in mind for that.
Yeah. I loved coaching. It was something, that definitely lit my fire and I was very passionate about, but I don't know if I would. It's going back into it, and you're married to the game. So it was more of like, do I want to be married to the game, now, or do I want to go experience something else, but still know that this was something I always loved and, to be a part of. And, of course, eventually want to have kids, and I'll be able to pass it on to them, when hopefully, God willing, they'll play softball or baseball or athletics, and
they're going to play softball or
be able to pass it on to them. So, but yeah, it was. I definitely battled with going back and coaching, but I think, right now I'm happy with where I'm at. So
cool. I can tell you, we've talked to a few different, former athletes, different sports, football. I can think of one guy in particular. He was just talking about, honestly, I'm good. Like, I'm just good at playing sports. It's God's kind of led him somewhere else in life, and he's go wherever that is.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So it's just kind of like you just look back and it's great memories.
Yeah.
And you love the game, but you just realize there's just kind of more for me in life. And that's cool. And then some people, they want to just live and breathe softball, live and breathe football. And that's great. It's just different people. And that's awesome. I think it takes a level of maturity to be able to say that too.
Yeah. It was hard.
Absolutely. So, because one of the things too, which I know for when we kind of talk about coaching, is so our coach now, Coach Jennifer Patrick Swift. So one moment this season which really kind of sold me on her, and I know for those State fans who haven't seen this moment, we'll make sure to have the link to it in our description. But so it was State was playing Georgia Tech, and this was earlier in the season. Yeah. And we were down, I think it was either 2 or 3 runs. It was I think it was a top or the bottom of 7th or something like that. But bases loaded for Georgia Tech, and Sydney Nestor is pitching, and there was a call on a ball that was called a ball which was borderline, and that caused a full count. Well, the next pitch, Georgia Tech hits the ball, home run, grand slam. And you can see in the clip in the bottom right, so make sure you don't miss this, you can actually see Coach Patrick Swift actually leaving the dugout before the ball is even left the field. And she goes to the ump and just lets him have it. And for me, the biggest thing I think about is not necessarily that she's frustrated at the officiating, which obviously, you watch that pitch, you go, okay, probably should have gotten that one. But at this point, Sydney Nestor's thrown, I think, like 100, 120, 130 pitches. She's thrown a full game. And so that when she went out, I didn't really look at it as, oh, she's going up to show up the officiating. She's going to stick up for her pitcher, who obviously has played her heart out. And so for me, that really sold me that, okay, it's obvious to me here that she's willing to do whatever it takes for her players.
Her players. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. She's a players coach, and she's going to go to bat for you and have your back no matter what. And I thought that was, like you said, I thought it was pretty awesome for her to go out there and stick up for her as well, because it's a one pitch changed the game. If you call that a strike, innings over, they're out, it's over. Yeah. But just because of that one pitch, that one call, it was a grand slam and lost them the game. So it all comes down to those inches, those one calls that could be game changers. And to see her to really go out there and fight was really impressive.
Yeah.
So you mentioned we're talking about grand slams here. I was looking up before we were watching the game. I remember I think I looked at the date, April 13th, 2013, on your senior day.
Oh, yeah.
You hit a grand slam against Carolina.
I hit a walk-off home run against
Walk-off, too.
On my senior day.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Love that.
Was probably one of the other best moments of my career. Definitely. I don't know.
You start to smile when you talk about it.
Yeah, if I could cry again, I could cry for that moment too. It was so surreal, so special. We were in extra innings, and it was runners on first and third, eighth inning, and I just remember going back to Rychek. I could again cry for him because I just love him so much. He kept it so calm, cool, and collected. He came right up to me. He said, we had a saying, hit 6 line drives every time he would throw BP to us. And it was a little saying that we had, and he said, hit a line drive. That's it. That's all you got to do. I believe in you. And that's all he needed to say. And it was, you're in the zone, don't even know what was going on around me. And, it goes over the fence. And if you watch the video, I went nuts. I just wanted to get home as fast as possible to my teammates because I just wanted to hug them. I just was so excited. And then Renata actually hit a walk-off the next day to win the series. So it was pretty incredible, such a special moment. And we'll always remember that.
You're just talking about grand slams, and I had to bring that up.
Yeah, it was very special. Great memory.
Yeah. And so, because, one thing too, which, I wanted to kind of ask just to kind of learn a little bit more about the softball world, really. So after college softball, I know there's like a USA softball team. But like, so I mean, what avenues are there for softball after the college softball world?
Yeah, there is a pro league. If I'm not mistaken, there's only 4 teams. They might have added another one, but yeah, they only play each other. So that's the one thing that I would love to be able to see grow. And when I graduated, the USA team, like there was no Olympics at that time, and they took softball out, but now softball's back in, so it is really awesome. That's like the next goal for girls, is to get on that USA team. But yeah, there is a pro league. I just would love to see it grow and be something bigger, because as you can see with the World Series, it's growing. People are watching it and people are caring about this sport. And I would love to see it grow bigger in the pro world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I mean, it's definitely become a lot more exciting, no doubt. And again, I mean, watching like the game yesterday with Oklahoma and JMU, and watching, I mean, the outfield packed. I mean, it's there is an empty seat for those games. It's awesome to see, because I know that's one of the big things, even for like the WNBA, that are really trying to push growing women's sports overall. And saying, if you give them, that TV time that you give the men's sports, that you could easily see that grow. Because I know even for me, I mean, I'll be 100% honest, I actually didn't really know that there was a pro softball league, but I'm definitely gonna go check it out now.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely something which we all can hope, and I mean, it should support, to try and grow and see what come of it, for sure. So I mean, overall, so one to kind of I know we're kind of getting close to the end of our time, so wanted to kind of ask, for you, just what would you say? Obviously, I know Macon's mentioned a couple of moments with your grand slam against Carolina, win the ACC title per se. But overall, I mean, if you had to pick, I mean, like maybe is there one more moment from your time there that really sticks out to you that we haven't mentioned yet during your time at NC State?
Oh boy, that's tough. All of them.
Yeah.
Those two are the biggest ones. Just overall, what?
Yeah. And those are good. Those are good.
Yeah.
Ones.
They are.
Nothing wrong with them.
Those were just so memorable, and but just overall, that senior season, that whole time, it was just something so special. And then making it to the regionals, even though we lost to Tennessee in the finals, that the whole season, it was one big success and great memory. And I have one moment besides those two that I can think of right now, but
yeah,
like I said, that season was just so special.
Absolutely. Well, because it's great to hear, because it's not usually common that a coaching change like that would go that smoothly and that successfully. I mean, you to come in, who you were with the previous coach for 3 years, and then your senior. I mean, it's clear as day from this whole interview that, I mean, you easily bought in with his new coach and absolutely took him in and fell in love with I mean, the system that he brought in. So I mean, definitely hats off. I mean, I'm hoping is, and I feel like that I mean, the rest of the team probably have the strongest feelings towards that as well, especially again with how successful it was. Because I mean, it's not easy for a coach to come in and really buy the team on the vision and really take it in that quickly to go on and win the title.
Exactly right.
First season. So because one of the biggest things as well that, I mean, I did want to ask you as well to kind of end it off. So I mean, when you came to NC State, what kind of sold you on coming to NC State? And then, did you ever even, I mean, was there ever even really talks about winning ACC title, going to NCAA regional? Like, I mean, was that within the realm of the discussion when you had originally come to NC State to play softball?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Obviously, that is something that's the goal from the beginning when you're getting recruited, wherever you end up going. But that was definitely a vision and a goal coming in to NC State as well, and something that was talked about. Yes. But just going on the campus, the minute I stepped on the campus and came to for my official visit, it was everything I envisioned for college. But it was so funny. Like when I first got recruited by NC State, I thought it was too far and too cold because, Florida girl, used to 90 degrees. And I was like, oh my gosh, it gets down into the 20s and 30s. Like, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. But my dad was like, no, and my mom were like, keep an open mind, go look. And they were right. It was everything, the brick, the tradition, everything about the campus was what I loved and what I wanted in a college. And then of course, meeting the girls and then Coach Novice, they were so wonderful and welcoming. So they just took me in right away. So yeah.
Did you have a favorite spot around State's campus to go to, whether it was to eat or to hang out?
Oh, well, we were always at Case because of study hall and everything. And I'm so jealous of the new Tally. It's gorgeous. I wish it was like that when I was there. It's incredible. But yeah, we were always in Tally too. So those were our two spots.
Yeah. Well, definitely need to come check it out.
Let me ask, would you take Bojangles or Cookout first?
Oh, that's tough. Cookout probably because of their milkshakes.
Okay. So then what's your go-to meal at Cookout?
What were the fritters? What were they called? The corn
fritters?
Corn fritters for sure as a side.
Or like, are you talking hush puppies?
Hush puppies. Those, yes, that's what it was.
I was like,
I couldn't remember what they were called. The hush puppies. That was what I loved. The hush puppies. Those were my favorite things.
That's fair. I'm realizing more and more that's more like a North Carolina thing or this area than it is.
I had no idea what that was.
Thing.
No, I had no idea what Cookout was. Had no idea what Bojangles, Zaxby's, none of those. Had no idea. And then the hush puppies. Forgot that's what they were called. But yeah, those were delicious.
Well, maybe in the future, once you make enough money, you can open a Bojangles in Florida.
I know, right?
I mean, I'm sure they'd be open to the idea. So
for sure.
They need some Bo-Berry biscuits in the area.
Yes, they do. Oh gosh, those are so good. And the sweet tea.
Oh yes.
The sweet tea.
Yes. Yes. You're my favorite interview yet, Caitlin. That's for sure. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Caitlin, for your time. Really do appreciate it, and definitely hope to see you back at State here soon, and see you back at the stadium, supporting the pack, and definitely hope to see a lot of Wolfpack Nation there as well. So thank you so much again for joining us.
Same here. I hope to get back soon, and thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, Wolfpack Nation, hope y'all enjoyed that interview with Caitlin. It was great speaking with her, and again, really diving into her time at NC State and talking about, how unique it is that she was able, her and the team were able to buy in so quickly to the new coaching staff and really pay dividends for that with the championship. Making, I don't know if you really kind of had any other kind of really highlights for me, but that was a huge highlight for me for that interview.
No, I just thought it was cool. You could see, I thought she had a, kind of joking, like kind of great personality. I thought you could see the love she had for her teammates and her coach when she had ride shake. I mean, she kept saying how she could cry for her coach. She could cry for her girls. She kept saying because how much she loved them and cared for them. And thought that was really neat. That kind of made an impression on me, how much that sisterhood, I guess, they had.
Yep, absolutely. So thank you all so much again for tuning in. Please make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to us by hitting the button in the bottom right hand corner. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Check out other content if you haven't seen our other episodes, our other great NC State content. And please also make sure as well to follow us at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. And also too, if you have any interest as well, any Tuffy Talk hats, make sure to reach out to us. We have a lot of exciting stuff in the works for Tuffy Talk, and definitely make sure to stick around and make sure to follow us so you don't miss any of it. So thank you all so much again for tuning in. Make sure to join with us here later this week. Actually, we're going to be rolling out another episode since we weren't able to put out one last week. So definitely tune in, and thank you all so much, and stay safe and go Pack.